Thank God I only did it once. I would never do such a thing. What is happening, lovely people? Thank you so much for clicking on my video. It's Liza Live and welcome to my channel. I have brought to you the second episode of the wedding planning series. So in this episode, as I mentioned in the first episode, we're going to talk about wedding planning, starting wedding planning. Are you excited? Yes, you are. You getting married. Getting married. Okay, so you got engaged. Congratulations, girl and boy. Can you imagine you are a fiance? Show me your ring. Okay. I see you shining. You have taken it in. You've enjoyed your time with your partner. You've had time to sit and voice out your opinions on what you want, what each person wants, right? You've done your Pinterest mood boards. You've done your written mood boards. He's done his, you've done yours. What is next now? Wedding planning time! Now girl, boy, I'm here to tell you, you cannot start, you can, but really and truly, you cannot start wedding planning without starting wedding counseling. Now, I'm Christian, so in my personal experience, my partner and I, we sought counsel from our pastor. And so what we did was we asked the pastor that was going to marry us to also be the one to do our counseling, and it was absolutely phenomenal. Like, guys, I don't think we could have done it without him, like without the counseling. It was so important. You have no idea how important it was that we had a counselor. We had to have it because for us, in our personal experience, we planned the wedding ourselves. Now, I'm doing this series so you don't have to go through what we went through, right? So you can learn from our mistakes. We should have started wedding counseling sooner than later, which we did start pretty early, to be fair, but obviously our pastor was a bit busy as well, so we didn't really get him from early. What I would recommend though is, especially if you're Christian, have your pastor do your counseling, but if you can also get personal counseling aside, it's so important. Now you're wondering, okay, why are we talking about counseling when all I want to do is get married? Guys, the reason is, if you are gonna have a big fat wedding, you're gonna need a counselor, because when you have arguments, when you have misunderstandings, you need to have somebody to help you be grounded during your conflict resolution, like during your conflict or disagreement or argument, should I say, during wedding planning. And so I would say, once you've done all your ideas, you start wedding counseling, and that will help you to decide. Your next step after doing everything we talked about in episode 1 is to now come to an agreement of what is your ultimate, or the perfect wedding for you and your partner. Not the perfect wedding for just the girl, or for just you, my love, or for just him. It's what is a perfect wedding for you guys. So that means if somebody did say, I want a destination wedding, and the other person said, I want a local wedding, you now have to decide what is a bridge between local and destination that makes sense for the both of you. So you will have to discuss things like, okay, well, I want a destination wedding. He says, babe, I'm sorry, we're doing a local wedding. You're going to have to communicate. Why did I say it? You're going to have to communicate to come to an agreement on why we're either going to have a destination, or we're either going to have a local, or we're going to find something in the middle that makes sense for the both of us. You need to do counseling. At the very least, you need to do counseling with your pastor if you're Christian. I don't know if other religions have a version of this where they have to do some kind of counseling with their religious, leader. If you do, please maybe educate us in a comment. I am speaking purely from a Christian point of view. We had a counselor who was our pastor, our Christian pastor, who also married us on the day of our wedding. Now, with counseling, let me tell you why it's so important to have counseling before you get married. Okay, it is absolutely important to get counseling before you get married, because guys, as much as the wedding is so beautiful, it's so lovely, it's gonna be such a fun time, you're marrying your best friend, your lover, your companion, everything that you've ever wanted, you are going to have to live for the rest of your lives. Okay, the wedding day is only one day, the rest of your lives is forever. Hey, you're gonna need that foundation. Now let me tell you some of the things that we went through during our wedding counseling. So this is the notes. So from my wedding counseling, from my marriage, I need to stop saying wedding, for my marriage counseling, we had to discuss, like, we had to go through so many things. So some of the things that we went through was, we had to find out the type of relationship that we were. Did we have a devitalized relationship, a conflicting relationship, a conventional relationship, a harmonious relationship, or did we have a vitalized relationship? Now, with our counselor, we had to do a test where we each took the test separately, and my partner answered his, to the best of his abilities by himself without conferring with me, and I did the exact same thing, and the results went to the counselor, the pastor, straight away. So we're gonna find out what kind of relationship that you're in, or the kind of relationship that you have, and they're gonna help you or give you the tools, because they're not going to tell you what to do. Your counselor will give you only the tools that you need to work on yourselves to get to the type of relationship, the type of relationship that you both want. So we went through that kind of stuff, and we also we did that test, he gave us the results, we knew where each person was lacking and where each person was shining, and where we would be able to help each other to get to the place that we wanted to be. Guys, I enjoyed counseling so much, and I'm so glad that we did it. With the counseling, it was a massive, broad topic, right? And we had to break it down. Like, he broke it down to us. So the counseling involved topics such as communication, which took out a lot, if probably like 60% off or 70% of the counseling session. We went through conflict resolution, we went through finances, we went through leisure, we went through sex, we went through family, we went through relationship goals, we went through interfaith and interchurch, and we went through marriage expectations, parenting, and we went through some wedding planning subject as well. With wedding planning, you're going through the whole planning situation to enjoy your wedding day and make it as memorable as possible. But with marriage counseling, it's going to teach you how to deal with all the stress that comes with the wedding planning process up until the wedding day, where you're going to have the best time of your life, and then from there, how to live life after having your wedding day, after having the best wedding day. What happens after? Do you get what I'm saying? So you have to build your marriage, okay? And having a wedding planning and having a counselor absolutely helped with that, because whenever my partner and I had issues, we would go back to what we learned during the conflict resolution aspect of the wedding planning. Whenever we were butting heads and couldn't come to an agreement, we could always speak to our pastor and tell him about it, and he never would tell us do this. He always would paint a better picture as a neutral person, and we would then, based off of that, be able to come to a conclusion on what worked best for us. Guys, wedding planning, especially if you're planning it yourself, is no joke, and it's so important that you and your partner go through marriage counseling. If you're not going to do the Christian faith one, if you're not going to do a religious counseling, the least you can do is get the normal marriage counselor, or even just the normal counselor for your personal individual person, because you'll be so surprised at the number of things that you are honing in, that you are keeping in, that you have never spoken about, and you really don't want. It would not be fair on your partner to come into a marriage with a lot of baggage, unresolved issues from previous relationships, or even your life in general, life from your upbringing. Like, it really delves into the inner crevices of everything, so you and your partner can talk about absolutely everything. This will be your vital, like, honestly, it will be so important that it will help, that this is what's gonna help you and help see you through wedding planning. Now, don't get me wrong, you can probably get married without getting a marriage counselor. It depends on what kind of wedding you're having, it depends on what kind of marriage you want, but I absolutely 100% recommend you having a marriage counselor. And so that's why this episode, I wanted to take a whole episode to explain to you, you need a marriage counselor. You need a counselor, most importantly a religious one, that will help you with your faith, that will help you with everything during the marriage, during the plan of the wedding, as well as your life after the wedding, because that's what the most important, that's what's really important. Let's be real, like the wedding day is just one day, and we live, we love, we absolutely, we love it. Do you know what I mean? We really absolutely love that day, but really and truly what happens right after, when it hits 11:30, which is when most venues end, like the wedding is done, like people are going home, they're finding their taxis, they're finding their way home, and do you know who you're going home with? It's you and your partner only, not your mom, not your dad, not your siblings, not your best friend. Nobody's coming with you. Do you know what I mean? It's just you and him. So make sure that you lay that foundation that will help you get through all your conflicts. And guess what, my partner and I had so many arguments during wedding planning process. Like when I tell you, I can count the number of times we've argued since after getting married. Like, and all of that is because weddings are so stressful, and you need that backbone. You need God to be in your life to help you see you through. And also after all of that, you will need something to help you to be able to face what's ahead, or after, what comes after the wedding day. Do you get what I'm saying? So that's what's important. Now that you started wedding counseling, you are going to spend a lot of time with communication, because you'll be so surprised like how much you can learn when it comes to that. I used to be that person, that silent treatment person, or I used to think, oh, you know, when somebody's, I don't know, when you see somebody struggling with a bag, are you the type of person that would just be like, oh, let me go over and try and help them with a bag? Or are you gonna think, oh, let me leave that person just in case they will think I'm a thief, or like that person might just push me away? That's you having two opinions in your head. You don't know what that person needs until that person speaks up and says, oh, can you help me with my bag? You're not gonna know if that person needs that help, or if that person also assumes that you just grab that bag. And so this bad behavior of, oh, silent treatment, or oh, how can you not think? How can you not think I need this? How can you not think I need that? Oh, you know, really, really and truly, if you love me, you should know this. No, my love, if you haven't opened up your mouth to speak about something, your partner's not a magician, your partner is not psychic, and unfortunately, really and truly, when it comes down to it, not everybody is quite switched on to be able to know certain things. Do you get what I'm saying? And it's so important to speak up. And I feel like communication is so crazy. And like perception, oh my gosh, the things that I've learned about perception, because I learned so many things through all the exercises that we went through that made me really see things differently, that I really, honest to God, don't think I would have been able to understand it properly if I hadn't had that class. Anyways, so I say all this to say, please start your marriage counseling. Start your marriage counseling, because that will see you through it. Now that you started your marriage counseling, you and your partner are going to sit down and come to an agreement on what you decide for. So you, for example, want a destination wedding, your partner wants a local wedding. What you're going to do is use your understanding of communication and conflict resolution to come to an agreement on what works, or what is the best thing to do. Now you can ask certain questions like, why do you want a destination wedding? Or why do you want a local wedding? Okay, I want a destination wedding because it's absolutely beautiful, or because I want to hide away from a lot of people. I don't want a lot of people to come to the wedding. Or I think it's going to be cheaper, it's going to work out cheaper for us. And he's like, okay, well, I want a local wedding because I have 1 million family members here. They will not all be able to travel to have the destination wedding. It's gonna cost them a lot of money to be able to come over. I just don't want to be in a hot country, or I don't want to be in a cold country, or I don't want this destination wedding. Like, you need to write down, like, you need to discuss your pros and cons. And I'll be so real with you when I say, when it comes to wedding planning, it's all about the money. I am so sorry, it's all about the money and the vendors and what makes you both happy. So you're gonna have to now start discussing, start doing your research and finding out, does it make sense? Because the thing is, you and your partner have to come to a decision before you send the information to your families. Don't make any mistake and try and go to your families to go and ask them, oh, would you like a destination? What do you think about a destination wedding? Because now you're introducing outside people's what's it called, ideas into your wedding. If the guy or the girl knows absolutely that the family is not ever going to allow it because, I don't know, visa issues or whatever the issues may be, then you have to let your partner know, babe, it's never gonna happen because my family will not be able to travel, or maybe my grandma, I want my grandma to be there, my grandma will not be able to travel, or whatever the reason is. You guys need to discuss these things before you now send the information to your families, because when you send your information to the family before you've now made your decision, it's just gonna cause more conflict between you and your partner. Remember, it's supposed to be between you and your partner, what works for you both. But before you guys make that decision, you need to consider all the other aspects. Like, is it very important for you for your grandma to be at the wedding? Is it very important for you for all your family members to be able to make it? Is it very important for you? Like, what is so important for you? Like, what is it so important for you about a destination wedding? Do you know what I mean? If you think it's cheaper, you might want to reconsider, because destination weddings do come with additional costs that could be a little bit hidden that you don't realize. Do you get what I'm saying? So it's not always that much cheaper. I think the only thing that you can probably save on is how many people are gonna turn up. But even that, you'd be so surprised how many people will be willing to come all the way for a wedding, because like, destination weddings are fun. Like, some people might be willing to risk it all and just turn up, obviously provided they're invited. So you're gonna have to use your skills from wedding counseling, marriage counseling, to help you come to a conclusion on whether maybe local doesn't make sense for you or destination doesn't make sense for you. So let's find a venue locally that gives destination vibes. So for example, if you wanted a Lake Como wedding, find a venue that has similar vibes of that right here in England and in the UK. When it comes to saying, I don't know, you wanted to have a 1,000 guest wedding and your partner wants what? Only 150. Why do you need those 1,000 people at your wedding? Why do you only need 150? Oh, maybe I don't need 1,000 because I don't know all these 1,000 people and I wanted it to be very intimate. I wanted it to be something where I'm sharing with the most important people in my life. I just don't want it to be open to the world. Or I want it to be 150 only because I'm planning this special thing for them and I can only afford to do it for only 150 people. So where can we come to a middle ground? I can't answer that for you, unfortunately. You're gonna have to go through this with your partner. And remember, guys, it is not always a quick answer, yes or no. Like, it's not always a okay, cool, we've discussed it today, I need your answer tomorrow. Sometimes you have to process things yourselves. Sometimes you're gonna have to need time, and sometimes it comes down to money. So at this stage, while you're getting your counseling and you're coming to an agreement on one big fat spreadsheet that has all the things that you're both agreeing from your side and from her side, we're gonna agree on, okay, cool, number one, we want this venue, we want a venue, this place. When that has been now agreed on, you can put that on that final sheet where you both agree from each side. You put that on that final sheet. If you wanted, 1,000, you wanted 150, but you've agreed now to meet in the middle around 300, you're gonna put 300 guests on your spreadsheet. Now, guys, remember that when you guys have your final sheet, you might have to add or remove, okay? Once you now send the information out to your families, you might have to add or remove, only because certain things can be a little bit out of your control. Yes, it's all about your wedding day. Nobody can tell you nothing, but for the love of the people that gave birth to you and have suffered for you, sometimes, especially if they are putting their money where their mouth is, you might have to add or remove. There has to be a little bit of a wiggle room, whatever your final decision is. When it comes to stuff like the number, location and stuff like that, when it comes to like the vendors, but when it comes to like location and stuff, obviously you guys should really put your foot down. So once you've now, you've started your counseling, you know how to deal with stuff, you then have now sat down and agreed on what your venue is, what your number is going to be. Now you discuss budget. Now my issue with budget is, I personally don't agree with, let's say, oh, a wedding is £2,000 or I want to spend 10k on my wedding, point blank period. My thing is, if you don't know how much things cost, how can you now have a budget that makes sense? Do you get what I mean? I feel like people have different opinions to this. Personally, we had an idea of how much we wanted to spend. We ended up spending more than we wanted to, that's because we weren't being realistic. Like, I said to myself, oh, I'm gonna spend what did I even say? Some very unrealistic things, like something stupid like I only want to spend 1,500 on food. Excuse me. We had about 250 guests. That is impossible, unless obviously, I don't know, depending on the type of wedding that you're having in the venue, all these things come into perspective. So I feel like the budget thing is a bit of a big fat question mark, but I think what you guys can then do is say, okay, cool, we're definitely not going to go over this mark, but maybe when it comes to the budget, you should already have started asking inquiries. So I think while you're doing your final spreadsheet, what you can then do is start sending out emails inquiring the price of things. So if you've always wanted a certain vendor, so for me, I always wanted to have my makeup done by Queen Hadessa Esther herself. I absolutely love the way she beats people's faces, and I always said to myself, when I'm getting married, she's gonna do my face. I don't give a damn, I'm gonna out. And obviously I said that without knowing how much she was gonna cost, but that was something that I felt like I really wanted. So what you're gonna do is send out emails, find out if it's something that you can afford. Maybe your dream vendor is not within your dream budget. Do you know what I mean? Like, you might not understand that the wedding industry is crazy, and I understand, hey, they're doing their thing, but it's crazy when you think about it, especially after the wedding, or even in general when you think about it. It's like, with weddings, people are willing to spend compared to any other day. When it's like any other thing, you rethink certain things. For us, with wedding, like, nice, my wedding day, it's only one day, and that's the excuse that can get you in a chokehold. It's only one day before you realize you're killing yourself. I think during this stage, it's also very important now that you're sending out emails to get a general idea of cost of things. Ask how much your dream vendor is charging, and then send inquiries to other vendors too that are within that range or are also doing beautifully well. My tip within this stage would be, please be willing to give up and coming people a chance, because some of these up and coming people are really doing great. My perfect example, Hair by Bearer, she's one of the girls that she done my proposal ponytail, and I loved her energy, her vibe. I wanted to use her for my wedding. I used her for my trad wedding, and she absolutely slayed. The quality of the hair that she gave me, brilliant. I honestly wish I had given her the chance to do my wet wedding as well, but we digress. All I'm trying to say is, sometimes the underdogs, they be doing so well. So maybe if your budget does not permit you to have your dream person, try and give other people, up and coming people, a go, especially if somebody can recommend them to you, or someone can give you a word of mouth recommendation, because that goes a very long way. Like, some of these big dogs, they might not give you that experience that you really yearn for. Like, obviously on your wedding day, you want to feel, or even like leading up to your wedding, you want that feeling of, you know, like, oh, they know that I'm getting married, they're excited for me, rather than, oh, you're just another booking for them. Do you get what I'm saying? So try and give the underdogs a chance. It will help you so much. You're now doing a lot of inquiries, sending out a lot of emails, getting back all the price breakdowns for every vendor, and you and your partner are gonna go through all these prices, and based off of questions and answers from both sides, you're gonna agree on who you're going for, and obviously based on availability as well. And then where you have issue, if you need to consult other people from the family and stuff like that to confirm how certain things, especially when it comes to the traditional side of things, you might say, oh, you want to cut cost on, for Nigerians for example, alaga, which is kind of like the person that kind of takes the lead in their traditional negotiations. I believe in Ghana we call them the Ochiame of the tribe. Is that somebody you can cut out to save money? I think not. They will quite literally bite your chew and bite your head off. So when you've now put everything on your spreadsheet, you can then decide, okay, cool, with makeup it ranges from $250 to $1,000, or with venues we have an option between 5k, or we have an option between 3k and 10k or 20k. You know, you then know what roughly the cost of venues are. So I feel like based off of that information, you can now fill all the information back into your spreadsheet. Okay, cool, we've agreed on our venue, we've agreed on our caterer, we've agreed on our drinks, we've agreed on our outfits, we've agreed on our photographer, videographer, you know, MC, all that kind of stuff. You've put all of that there. You know roughly how much they're gonna cost, and now based off of that information you can agree on what the budget should be. Personally, that's how I would do it if I was to ever get married again. Thank God I only did it once. I would never do such a thing. Or what you can do is, on the flip side, agree and say, look, our budget is 15k, our budget is 20k. No matter what we do, we have to find something that makes sense within that amount. If that works for you and your partner, that's absolutely fine as well. You all need to agree. You both need to agree and write that down. It's kind of like a contract between yourselves, because when in the long run your partner is now saying, babe, I know our budget is only, because that was me, I know our budget was only 10k, or our budget was only 15k, but now I want to add sparklers, now I want to add, you know, 3D designs on the floor. When your partner is now moving mad, bringing all these ideas, you can revert back to the original contract and say, babe, this is not what we agreed on. Or if they ever want to reintroduce something else, you can say, okay babe, we're gonna take out this and replace it with that. All that kind of stuff. Do you get what I'm saying? Have a contract. You have contract with your partner, with your vendors, have a contract with your partner, and also with the girls. If your man now turns around and says, babe, I'm sorry, we're gonna have to cut your make, we're not gonna use this makeup artist. Why are you spending 1,000 on makeup? When your partner is now moving forgive me, when your partner's not moving mad as well, you can say to them like, babe, this is what we agreed on. Do you get what I'm saying? So this is like your final spreadsheet where you have all your vendors. You know, you have to have your main vendors, your backup vendors, and your backup vendors backup vendor. Have all of them in the spreadsheet, because when you finally are ready to make your down deposit, put down your deposit, and you know, get into contract with people, sometimes some vendors can move mad. Like, we can get into that in a different video, but at this stage you're doing all of that to understand yourselves. And once you've gotten to that final stage where you've got everything in your spreadsheet ready, guys, you're ready to get married. I don't know, you're getting married. I don't know. You've done the hardest part, and I'm so proud of you. Cheers to you, and I cannot wait, honestly, for you to get married and have the wedding of your dreams, because now you can sip tea. Yeah, okay, so I would love to leave you here without rambling on too much. Thank you so much for watching this episode. I'm super excited to bring on the next episode. What do you think that episode is going to be about? I cannot wait to share it with you guys. In the moment, please like, comment, subscribe, share this with your friend and your friend's friend and your friend's friend's friend. Somebody's mother, somebody who's getting married, somebody that got engaged, somebody that wants to have their dream wedding, and yeah, tell them to watch the video. Thank you guys so much for watching this video, and I shall see you in my next one. Mwah. Bye.